You don't need to be a pro to create a designer looking skirt. With this pattern, you will draft like one. For every designer needs at least one timeless pencil skirt pattern, and this fashion with a pleated vest is pure sophistication. Welcome back to Those Fashions Academy channel, where we help you to give your creativity expressions. If it's your first time, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell not to miss out on all of our amazing video content upload every week. In today's class, we are drafting a long pencil skirt with a full pleated back vent, an elegant design that combines structure, grace, and comfort. Whether you're creating a fun, modest, or everyday look, this design adds a refined movement that makes every step grateful. Get started with me. Here with me, I have my pattern paper, my ruler, my pattern master, and then our measurements. So for the pencil skirts with a pleated vent measurement, you need your waist circumference, which is to be divided by 4, your hip circumference, also divided by 4, your knee circumference. To get your knee circumference, it is hip circumference minus either 4, 5, 6, or 7, depending on how you want to taper the knee area. That is also to be divided by 4 when you get the answer. Then we go into your skirt length. That is where the length of your skirt is getting into. So if you're doing the long, go for long. If you're doing short, it is short. So now this is my pattern paper here. I have a paper and then I'm using the largest part of this measurement, which is my hip circumference, and it is 9.5 to determine the paper, because I'm going to be drafting the front and the back on my paper, but we are not drafting both on the same paper. So you just draft your front first, then you draft your back. So for my front, for my both that I want to draft, my hip circumference is the largest here, which is 9.5. So times 2 is giving me 90 inches. Then added with all the allowance I need, I have about 24 inches for the wideness of this paper, which is enough to draft my front and my back, including all the allowance, zipper allowance, and the likes. Then the length is what I have there. I have the length up to like 45 inches. My skirt length is 43 inches, and then plus the folding allowance and the like. So first of all, I'm going to be creating a margin line, which is going to be serving as my starting line, and it is also the waistline for this project. That is, I just put about 1 inch away from the edge of the paper. This will help me to be able to contour anywhere I want to contour there. So margin line first, which serves as my waistline, and then I'm measuring 9 inches down. 9 inches, it is the measurement from my waist to my hip line. Okay, so we've always mentioned on this channel your measurements from your waist to your hip line. So whatever you use for your waist to your hip line is the same thing you are repeating to get your knee line. So the knee line we are referring to here is around the mid-thigh area, because that is the place you can put your knee line for ease and for comfort. You can't just put your knee line on your knee line exactly. When you're drafting your skirt, you target around the mid-thigh area, so that is where your knee line is going to be. And then for easy, whatever measurement you use from your waistline to your hip line is the same thing you're repeating for your hip line to your knee line. So we've repeated on our channel here. You can go ahead to our channel and watch how to make a basic skirt vlog. It is also the same process I'm repeating here once again. So for a short measurement, is usually 8 inches. You use a medium, it is 9 inches. Then for somebody that is tall, you use 10 inches. So that means 8 inches from your waist to your hip line if you are short. Then you repeat the same thing to get your knee line, which is around your mid-thigh area. Also for medium, 9 inches, same process. Then for tall, it is 10 inches. So for measurements here, measurements I'm using here is medium measurements. Then I'm also marking my skirt length here. So my skirt length is 43 inches. I'm going to be marking that, and I'm going to be adding 2 inches for my folding allowance, just like the same way you're seeing over there. Like I said earlier, I will be drafting both the front and the back on this pattern paper you're seeing here right now. Okay, so after drafting all the lines, so the next thing we want to do right now is to now input the measurement for our front and for our back. Take time in taking all your measurements accurately, not to miss any step. Okay. So then you're going to go ahead and label your pattern accurately. You can see I label everything: hip line, knee line, and then my skirt length. So label. So now that you have all your lines on the paper just like this, so the next thing we want to go ahead is to now differentiate the front from the back. So like I said, we are drafting both the front and the back on the same pattern. So now is to now draft the front and the back. So that's why I label that this is the front part and this is the back part. So now first of all, on your waistline, you know you've rightly divided your waist by 4. So when you just put your measurements, whatever it is. So it is plus 1 inch dart intake. We'll be putting a dart intake of 1 inch. So whatever measurement you divided there, add your dart intake there and put it there. Now I've not put the dart yet because I'm still going to contour the waistline before I put the dart. Now the hip as well, put your measurements, whatever you've divided, put the measurement, and then the knee circumference, put the measurement. Then on the tapered end, whatever you use on the hip, you can just remove about 2 inches or 1.5 to put on the hip, because you know it tapered down. It's not just going to be going straight down. So it tapered down to show that its effect very well. So right now we're just going to go ahead. Remember, for every of our skirts we contour the side. We raise the side on the waistline, we raise it by 0.25. We raise the side by 0.25. We raise the side on the waistline by 0.25, and that is what I just did there. I just raised the side on the waistline by 0.25 or 0.5. For 0.25 is okay for this measurements I'm working with. Then I'm going to be connecting my line to go and meet with my M line. Now your M line, after you might have drawn your M line, you don't want to forget to put 0.25 inches on your folding line for your M line, because when you fold in, you create a little allowance there so that it's aligned with the M line. You know, we have our M line and then we have our folding allowance line. So on your folding allowance line, add 0.25 inch for the folding allowance line. So let's say on this measurement now, on my M line, I'm using 6 inches here. You know, my knee line here is 8 inches. Then on my knee line is 8 inches after the division. So my M line is now 6 inches because I moved 2 inches for I want that tapered so it's different. So now I just had 0.25 to it, making 6.25 on my folding allowance line. This is to help you when you fold in the M, it's aligned with the M allowance and you're not short of any fabric or any folding there. You can see the way it is looking over there. Now that we are done doing this, so I will quickly go ahead and outline this with my marker so that you're going to be seeing this very well. Why we are learning this? We are learning this pattern because it's one of the most timeless skirts design. In fashion, the pencil, so it flatters the body, while the full pleated veins gives room for walking and style. It's a perfect foundation for beginners who want to master precision and for advanced looking to upgrade their pattern drafting skills. Hello. So this is it. This is the basic skirt block. So like I said earlier, it is, you can have it to a midi length. Maybe it's not a full length, you want ankle length, but I'm doing for this tutorial, it is ankle length and I want you to also learn how to do it. It can be to the midi length where you just have it around the midi length. It can be to the knee length and all that. It can be short, it's still the same principle. So just know the basic and have the basic. So now that I have this, now the next thing is let us contour the waist area. So remember, your front is to be cut on fold, so that is why I'm putting the cut on fold symbol over there, and then I'm going to be labeling this that this is to be cut on fold. Remember, your front is to be cut on fold. So next is to now contour the waist area. You know, your waist is not straight. Your around your waist area is not straight. So first, I'm now going to, I've already raised the side. So now I'll be coming down on the center front by half an inch to rightly create that curve for my waist curve. You come down on your waist, on your center front, on the waistline by half an inch. You raise the side by 0.25 inch or 0.5 inch, depending on how you want to contour this. But on the center, you come down by 0.5, then you use your curve, your waist curve to do this, or your pattern master. So that is when we are now going to be putting our darts. So that is why we didn't put our darts earlier on before. So my darts, I use my nipple to nipple distance, divide into two to create my dart, and then my dart length, it is 3.5 inch, and then I'm taking just 1 inch dart intake here. No much dart intake on the front. I'm just going to be doing just 1 inch dart intake, just like you're seeing over here. Right, great. So now the front is perfect, and then the next thing we want to do here now is to now put our seam allowance. Okay, everyone. So you are going to be adding your seam allowance, because when we want to cut on the fabric, we will not need to be adding any measurements on the side again. So your seam allowance for your skirt, I just put 1 inch. 1 inch is okay. If you want to do 1.5, it is okay, but it's not be too much for it not be bucket. So don't forget around the knee area that center area is to be curved. So don't just go sharp around the knee area. Okay, so now I'm putting 1 inch for my seam allowance down. Now my skirt is complete. This principle also work for you. This is your basic skirt block. It's just like I'm repeating the basic skirt tutorial we did earlier on for our basic skirts. You can also view that to see. It is also with a vent, but that is not with a pleated vent. That is just with just an opening vent that you just close in into the skirt. But this time around, it is a long pencil skirt with a pleated vent. Hope you're enjoying this tutorial, creative minds. I hope you're having fun. So now we are done with the front. You can see easy, super easy, amazing. So now we are done, and then we've already labeled. This is our front long pencil skirt, and then the seam allowance, everything that need the label we've already put there. Then I marked, I drew a straight line so differentiate my front from my back. So that side I'm standing right there is not going to be serving as my center back. And first of all, I'm going to be putting the zipper allowance line on my center back. The zipper allowance line, I bring it closer so you can see this very well. The zipper allowance line, before I now input all the circumference measurements. So for the zipper allowance, I'm just going to be putting 1.5 inch line down to create my zipper allowance line before I go into contouring my zipper allowance area, so that my zipper will blend smoothly into my skirt. Exactly. So I just measure 1.5 inch from my center back. Where I'm standing there is my center back, right? So that is my center back now that I'm doing. So I'm just, first of all, I'm drawing my zipper allowance line, just like you're seeing over there. Now that I'm done drawing my zipper allowance line, I can now go ahead and put all my circumference measurements. Remember our circumference measurement? So from the center, from that zipper allowance line on my center back now, I'm going to go ahead and then I'll be setting my waist circumference, which is there. Don't forget to also include with your dart intake. The waist circumference there is 8 inches plus 1 inch dart intake. My hip line, I put the measurements I have. My knee line, the same thing we did earlier on for the front. Put everything, but don't forget that I'm putting all these measurements right after I have added my zipper allowance line. So my zipper allowance line comes first, which is 1.5 inch for the zipper allowance line before I go into doing this. So I'm blending in all the curve. You're going to notice something about this, that I'm first of all using pencil to connect all my lines to see if my lines are really right, because I'm stopping, I'm topping, I'm connecting. Do you get it? So before I now outline it with my marker, and don't forget to also raise your side as a contour. Raise your side by 0.25 inch like that over there, or 0.5. It depends on you. Excuse me. So now I've already gone ahead to outline this with my marker, and then I also put my seam allowance line. The same thing we did for the front, which is 1 inch. Now let us put our darts. So for putting the darts, so for the back now, you have to raise your center back by half an inch. For our front, we come down by half an inch, but for your back, you raise it up by half an inch. Reason why you're raising it up by half an inch, because of the butts at the back. So to just create that at the back. Okay, you create that high at the back. Okay, so you raise your center back by half an inch, but your front you come down by half an inch. Now I can now go ahead and put my dart 4 inches, and then I'm going to be increasing my dart depth here, which is 4 inches as well. For the front I use 3.5, for the back I use 4 inches, because there is more darts to take at the back because of the butt. Do you get it? Let me quickly recap all the lines for you. For your front contour, you are to come down the center front by half an inch, and then you for your back you go up on the, that is on the waistline only, by half an inch, and then your dart intake on the back should go depth. The depth of your dart intake on the back should be more than the depth for the front, because there is more volume at the back. So right now I've labeled my pattern for the back, and then it is 2 pieces. So let us contour the zipper allowance line. So in contouring the zipper allowance line, on your waistline it is 1 inch, on your hip line it is 1.5, and then on your knee line it is just half an inch. Don't forget your zipper allowance contour on your waistline it is 1 inch, on your hip line it is 1.5, on your knee line it is half an inch. So if we are not adding veins, so just continue with the half an inch up to the hem line. Okay, but because we are adding veins, so I didn't chop the remaining extra off around from the knee area down to the hem line. So that is going to continue into the veins. Don't forget again, for your zipper contour, on your waistline it is 1 inch, on your hip line it is 1.5, and then on your knee line it is half an inch. So let's go ahead right now and separate this pattern from each other. Do you see the beauty we have here? Do you have this on your table now? Come on, give yourself a round of applause. You are doing amazing. You are doing amazing with it. So now we have this, so you can also make use of this to make your basic skirt without the veins. If it's a basic skirt, don't forget, I repeat again, the same principle. You can use it to cut your small skirts, your midi, if it's a midi style you want, and all that. So do that. So now I'm separating the back from the front so that we can rightly cut this. So look at how we are cutting this. Look at where we are cutting and how we are cutting this. Fabric choices for this project: medium weight fabrics work best. Something structured but still work enough to drape at the veins. You can use crepe suiting, cotton twill, gabardine, linen blend, or even polyester crepe. These are globally available fabrics that press neatly and give your skirt a refined finish. African print choice is also a great choice of fabric for bold and elegant look. So it depends on the fabric you want. So I just give you some fabric choices you can make use of. So now we are done cutting the front, and then we have our front. So now let's focus on the back. So back, we are going to be bringing a new piece to use for our veins at the back, just like you're seeing. So right now we are just going to be adding this extra paper to it to use it for the veins. So if you're cutting your skirt, your veins area should be cut on fold. That is why I'm having my paper on fold here, because I want to show you the effect of this when we cut the both side. So it is on fold. So the opening part is going to be going to one side of the skirt, then the other opening part is going to be going to the other side of the skirt. Just like I said, the vent area is to be cut on fold. So I'm trimming off all the excess on the other side of the skirt, and then I'm also going to be trimming off the remaining excess around the zipper area contour, then also around the waistline. So you can see it over there. So I'm chopping all those off. Why the vent should start around the mid-thigh? Just like I said earlier, the vent is to start around the mid-thigh. The vent begins around the mid-thigh level. That's the sweet spot where movement feels natural, yet the skirt remains elegant and modest. If placed below, the skirt may feel tight when walking. If too high, it loses the refined look. You can see where it is, so just start from the knee line exactly. Just like I explained earlier on, the knee line that we put here, that we use in this project here earlier on before, that I was explaining the measurement, it is like a mid-thigh of your body. So you can see, so I'm going to, so if you're just doing a skirt without a vent, so that is to be folded in like that to cut up the chop up the excess like that. That is without the vent. And now that I'm placing vent, so I want to tape that remaining excess with my vent opening. Like I said, your vent should be on fold because you don't want to be stitching it. When you want to cut on fabric, just place your skirt and then your vent is going to be on fold. and then the other side is going to be going to the other side of the skirt. Okay, so that is why I have it on fold, just like you're seeing it over there. Hi, creative minds. How many of you will love to see the sewing tutorial of this project, and then how to learn the lining techniques, even including your veins and all that? Drop it in the comment section. Let me know. Guys, engage with this tutorial. Comment that you are enjoying what we're bringing on, and if you want any tutorial you want us to bring onto this channel, let us know. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So do you see that right now? So I'm just going to be taping this to that area just like that. So that is serving as my veins. Like I said, if you are cutting on your fabric, so you're just going to be cutting, you may not cut your own pattern on fold. So now there is no particular measurement for a vent. It just depends on the volume you want for your vents. So look at that, it starts from the nail line and to the hem line. So I'm going to go ahead and chop off the essence on the hem line. The vent or slit in a pencil or straight case is not just a design feature, it's a functional detail. Placing the vent around your mid-thigh provides ease of movement while walking, sitting and climbing stairs. So now that you see that now, so I want to show you. So I quickly cut the other side of the skirt so that I can show you on the paper before we move into the sewing. So look at the other side of the skirt. So like I was explaining earlier on, that's what I'm saying. So this particular one is now going to be going to the other side of the skirt. So when you want to draft your own, do that you are drafting your own pattern, you may not really draft on fold. Just draft the volume you want and put it there. So when you want to cut on fabric, you know that the vent area is to be cut on fold. Okay, the mid of the vent that you're going to be pleated on both sides is to be on fold, and then the other part may be cut in pieces. Okay, so do you see that? So it helps you not to stitch the mid of your vent so that you have a neat job. Okay, so when you place, you just fold your fabric, then you make sure that the folded part is still folded, don't cut it. So you just measure the amount you want, the volume you want for your vent, and then you go ahead and shape the upper part of the skirt. Okay, so then you stitch the end, the both end to the both side where you're going to be adding the vent for this project. So then you go ahead and do whatever you want with your vents. You can pleat it in the way you want. If it is double, if it's just a bold pleat, if it's more volume of pleats, so all this depends on you. Just like you know that the vents maintain modesty and balance, it opens just enough comfort, preserve shape and drape, prevent strain and tearing. Just look at what we have here. Exactly. Is this not looking perfect? If you have this on this table now, just applaud yourself. Great job. Now, if you enjoy learning this pattern, remember to like this video, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the same tutorial when it drops. Let me know in the comment section if you would love to see the same process for this exact design. Your feedback helps us decide what tutorial comes next. This training will be involving learning how to fully line your skirts with bands. Anticipate with me, everyone. On this channel, go right now and explore all the playlists of our princess theme, and then that you can pair with this lower parts of the project. You know, we have the princess theme, the armhole, the shoulder, the neckline, the drape, anyone you want to do. Just explore all and also see how to draft your basic skirt block on this channel. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and then I see you in our next creative tutorial uploads. Till then, keep creating, keep drafting, keep swinging, and keep shining. See you, and don't forget to subscribe for more. So this is the beauty you have on this table now. Like I said earlier, you can as well shorten it for a midi style and keep it long for an elegant anklet statement skirt. Depends on what you want. Guys, is this not really looking amazing? This is a beautiful job. Explore, enjoy, see this with any upper bodies you want on this channel. Princess Sim, anything whatsoever. We see you in the next swing upload. Have an amazing time drafting this. Bye.